It's live. Okay, everyone, guess what just happened? So Mark and I just did a live Facebook, and Facebook completely mucked it up because, because it's Facebook, right, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. That's what happened. That's legitimate.
Because I checked the recording, everyone, just so you know. So, anyway, everyone, please meet the fabulous Mark Cunningham, who is our star of the week on Epilepsy Sparks Insights, a professor, scientist, researcher into epilepsy and brain tumor-related epilepsies in Ireland with that gorgeous accent. So, tell us about yourself, Mark, and
Hi,
your work.
Torie. Hi, Torie. Thanks for this call this morning. It's great to speak with you. So my background is I'm a preclinical neurophysiologist. And I've spent most of my career studying networks of brain networks, and trying to understand how epilepsy arises from those networks of brain cells and the connections between them. And we did our podcast. It seems like a long time ago now.
Ages, yeah.
Yeah, back end of last year, and we talked a lot about brain tumor-related epilepsy, which I'm very interested in, and the lab is focused on now. We have a SFI-funded project looking at brain tumor-related epilepsy and coming up with new ways of trying to treat that condition. And we also talked a lot about our work with human brain tissue, live human brain tissue that we get from patients with ethical consent, of course. That allows us to actually study the brain tissue, the peritumoral tissue, and to try and understand what's going on in that region of tissue to generate the seizures. And so we use that as a critical part of our studies. And of course, it's great because it gets us closer to the patient, in that we're using, patient-derived brain material. So very, very useful from a sort of development point of view as well, in terms of trying to ultimately translate what we do in the lab actually into patients ultimately.
And there was a quick mention of your colleague Kate Connor, who I believe is going to be our guest soon as well.
Yep.
There are a number of people that you mentioned in the episode, people who are inspiring and help you along with your work, and I think that's quite an important thing, to put it politely, in your work, isn't it? To work with cool people. And
Yeah, I mean, science is a team sport, and there's no I in team, as somebody told me a long time ago. I mean, I'm at the stage in my career where part of what I can do is also try and help, the next generation come through. So, like thinking of, like, obviously people like Kate, but also Gareth Morris as well, who I think has been on the podcast series.
yes.
Big shout out to Gareth. Gareth's now kind of got his first academic position as well at Manchester University. So, it's great. It's great to be able to help these people. And Kate, I don't know what Kate's going to be talking about, but it's going to be fun. And she's a rising star. So she's someone that's come from a slightly different field. Her background is very much tumor biology. So she's getting trained up in terms of epilepsy research now as well. And I think that's a really interesting thing, is to try and bring in people from other areas to sort of bring that unique skill set.
Yeah.
And try and really sort of help us understand, the sort of complexity of epilepsy as a condition.
And people like Kate, I think, Kate's a really good example of people who help to bridge the silos between what were formerly, and still are a bit, but formerly just completely separated disciplines, right? So you've got brain cancer, you've got epilepsy of the brain, of brain tumours, obviously it's in the brain, and all these different things, but bringing people together so you can all help each other out and realise that it doesn't all have to be separate. That's what she's kind of doing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's a big move in that direction. So the last number of years, what we've seen at the American Epilepsy Society is they have a great session where they actually, I can't remember the exact term, but they're kind of called conversations, where they bring in, leading experts that are working in different areas. So, for example, a couple of years ago, I heard a talk from Michelle Monge, who, is very much, her background is, again, tumor biology, but she's starting to work in this kind of brain tumor-related epilepsy field. And it was just mind-blowing, and so I think what we're going to see is more of that, where people are coming from other disciplines like immunology, like neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's disease, and really starting to sort of try and use those other disciplines to get a much better handle on the complexity of epilepsy as a disease. I mean, ultimately what we study, or what I study, is the sort of, electrophysiological manifestations, which are the seizures, but there could be so many other things that are going on that ultimately lead to that. And I think that's what we need to understand a lot more about.
Totally. Epilepsy is way more than seizures, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. Well, everybody tune into Mark on either YouTube or on podcast, or you can check out on the website, TorieRobinson.com, and also check out your website, which is, isn't it Cunningham what is it?
Org?
.org, it is, because there's another Cunningham lab, isn't there? .com, I think, in the States. Because I was like, mate, you've changed your look. Yeah.
No. .org.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Mark. All right, see you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.